Hello, Legacy students. Today we're going to look at hyperbolas shifted and moved around. So you're first going to want to have out your notebook today and then those little graph squares I gave you again. So the equation of the hyperbola when it's been moved. So we already had the standard equation of hyperbola. That was x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. So now if I move the center of this hyperbola to hk, I'm going to have x minus h squared over a squared minus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. So these are going to look a little different than what they did before. So let's graph a couple of hyperbolas. So the very first thing I'm going to want to find out is what is the center of my hyperbola. So the center here, it's going to be the opposite here, so it's going to be -3. So I'm going to start at -3. And y is going to be 4. So my center is -3, +4, so it's going to be right here. Put a big C right there. I do know I'm going to be left and right because I'm going to have it right here. So we're going to go left, right. Our vertices are going to be a distance of 3 away. So from my center, left and right, I'm going to go 3 away. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, put a dot, and then put a nice V by it. And then 1, 2, 3, put a nice V by there. Okay, so my two vertices are at -6, 4 and 0, 4. Now we need to find our foci. So remember Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to have c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So c squared equals 9 plus 16 because b is 4. So I'm going to have c squared equals 25. So if I square up both sides, I'm going to have c is 25. So my foci, 5. Whoops. So my foci are 5 units away from the center. So from my center, I'm going to count 5 away. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a dot right here. He's going to be labeled with a big F. And then from my center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. So my two foci have dots at 2, 4 and -8, 4. Right? So now my asymptote equations. Remember, B was the distance from the vertex up to the asymptote. So I'm going to go actually up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a dot. And from both my vertices, I'm actually going to do that. There we go. Let's put in our dotted lines. My asymptotes here. There we go. Another one going this way, it looks like. There we go. Now let's write the equations of those two asymptotes. So I do know that it does have a different center than 0, 0. So we can use that new way of writing an equation of a line. So let's find our slope first. So from my center to this dot, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then over 1, 2, 3. So my equations are going to be plus or minus 4/3. Now, my middle point has shifted. So I do know it's going to be x, and I moved left 3, so it's going to be +3, and I went up 4. So my asymptotes have the equation of plus or minus 4/3 x plus 3 plus 4. And I can leave it in that form because I do not need to have it in slope-intercept form. Let's finish our graph here. So I'm going to have my vertex going off my vertex here, and this guy's going to shoot off in both directions, like so fashioned. Let's try another one. So here I have my left, right, up or down, and then let's find my center. So I do know, notice y is first. So it is going to be a center of -8, -4. So -8, -4. So right here will be my center. I do know I'm going to have an up and down one because my y is first. So my vertices, notice, they're going to be a distance of 7 away. So up and down, I'm going to go up 7 and down 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like we're going to be at 11 here, negative 11. So my two vertices are at negative 8, 3, and negative 8, negative 11. Okay, now my foci, let's find them. So I'm going to have c squared equals a squared plus b squared. I do not know c because c is the center to the focus, but my a is 7 squared or 49. My b is 3 squared or 9. So I'm going to have c squared equals 34, right? No. Yeah, no. 58. So c is the square root of 58, and the square root of 58, if I kind of simplify that here, or get a decimal approximation, is 7.6. So this is approximately 7.6. So from my center, I'm going to have to go a distance of about 7.6. So let's go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So it's going to be around about right there for my focus. Label my vertice here too. Now I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Little bit more for my focus. So my two foci, now since my center has been moved, it did not change my x value at all, but it did change the y values. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to write our original center, negative 4, and I'm going to say I added square root of 58, because that's in essence what I did, right? I added 7.6 from my center. And same thing, I'm going to say I subtracted 58, square root of 58 from my center. Let's find our two asymptotes equations. So from my center, from my vertex, we're going to need to go over 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Going off a little graph on this one. Sorry, guys. 1, 2, 3. So I know I'm going to have asymptote equations. They're going to look something like that, and like that. So my two asymptotes are going to have an equation of y equals plus or minus. Let's find our slope. So from my center, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then over 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have a slope of 7/3, and then to say I moved left 8 and down 4. Then let's draw in my hyperbolas, like so fashioned. Now, what if they ask us to find the equation of a hyperbola? So, we need to, very first thing, find the center. And I like to kind of draw out these just to kind of see what I'm looking at. So I have vertices at 6, negative 3. So that's going to be 6, negative 3, so about right down here if we think of it that way. And 6, 1, so that would be 6, 1, so right about here. And then I have foci at 6, negative 6, so down here, and 6, 4 up here. So I do know that I'm going to have them going like this, right? Because my foci needs to be in the middle of my two hyperbolas. So I do know that I'm going up and down, so I do know that my y is going to be first in my hyperbola equation. I'm going to be equal to 1. Now, the distance underneath here, or first let's find our center, right? So my center needs to be in the middle of my two vertices, right? So if I need to find the midpoint, remember we used that for our ellipse. We did our two x values, 6 plus 6 divided by 2, and our two y values divided by 2. So we're going to get 12 divided by 2, or 6, and -1, looks like, right? And if you look at it, kind of eyeball it, -1 would be in the middle of those two. So I'm going to have y plus 1, x minus 6 for my focuses, or for my center, excuse me. Let's find the a value. So if I have my center here at 6, -1, the distance between the center to my vertex is 2, right? Because that would be 0, yeah, 2. So I know I'm going to have a 4 there. Now let's find our b value. So I do know my c value, which is a distance of focus to center, which looks like it's about 5, right? -1 to -6, yeah, that would be 5. So I do know my c value is 5 and my a value is 2. So if I plug that into my formula, I'm going to get 25 equals 4 plus b squared, or 21 equals b squared, which if I square root both sides, I get b equals the square root of 21. But b squared is normally underneath here, so I can just put a big 21 for my final answer. So my equation of my hyperbola is y plus 1 squared divided by 4 minus x minus 6 squared divided by 21, and that's equal to 1. Let's try the next one. We got some vertices, we got some foci. Let's see what we can find. So I'm going to first kind of do a little sketch here. So at 1, 7 is one of my vertices, so that's going to be about right here. And I got one going on way over here at 7, 7. And then I got some foci at -1, 7 and 9, 7. There we go. So I do know my two hyperbolas are going to shoot off in both sides kind of like that. So I do notice they're left and right. So I do know that I'm going to have an x first. And it's going to be equal to 1. Let's find the center of these two. So what is in the middle of these two vertices? So I'm going to go 1 plus 7 divided by 2 and 7 plus 7 divided by 2. So my center looks like he's at 4 and 7. So my center is at 4, 7, looks like. So I'm going to have x minus 4 and y minus 7. Let's find out what our a value is. So a, remember guys, is the distance from center to vertex. So that looks like it's going to be a distance of 3, right? This is a distance of 3. So I'm going to have 9 underneath there. So my a is 3. We do not know b, but we do know our c value, or we can find it. So that's the center to a focus, which is the distance of 5, right? Because 4 to 9. So if I solve that, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Let's plug in. So I got 25 equals 9 plus b squared. Subtract my 9 from both sides, and I'm going to get 16 equals b squared, which b squared is what's underneath there, right? So I can just put 16 right away. But my b would be 4. So I have found the equation of my hyperbola that has the various vertices and the two foci that they required. And that's the end of this video. See you later, Sabers.